Hi, welcome to this episode of History Hunters. I'm here at the Fresno Memorial Gardens, west of Fresno, a very rural cemetery, a very quiet cemetery. But today I'm here to pay homage to somebody whose music I enjoyed. If you remember the group Redbone, maybe you don't remember, maybe you weren't born, but I know you've heard the song because they're playing it in commercials today. Lolly Vegas, who was the lead singer of that group, died at the age of 70 years old back in 2012. He had cancer. He was from Fresno. He and his brother started a band here in Fresno, and then they performed over in Salinas, California, and then they performed here in Fresno, of course, and then they moved on to Los Angeles and on to greater fame. Lolly Vegas is buried right over here, and I'm going to talk to you about him on this episode. So just as you enter the cemetery, there is this little garden area and these rusty iron sculptures here entitled Fresno Landmarks detail some of the noteworthy buildings in Fresno and the mountains in the background. Fresno is known as the southern gateway for the Los Angeles people to enter Yosemite, so mountains in the background. On a clear day you can see mountains, but not usually. So to find his grave, you basically go down the middle of the cemetery towards the back. And he's back towards this section back here. This is probably the most peaceful area of Fresno County, or west of Fresno, at this memorial park, Fresno Memorial Gardens. And way in the back of the cemetery, you will find Lolly Vegas. Just off in the distance there is countryside, vineyards that go on for miles. This is a grape growing area, and if you find this great bench here, you will find the grave of Lolly Vegas. October 2nd, 1939 to March 4th, 2010, leader of Redbone, Come and Get Your Love. Loving husband. And silk flowers mark this spot today. Nobody else has left anything for him.
Hi, my name is Lolly Vegas, the leader and lead singer for Redbone. I started the group with my brother Pat. My brother and I were playing in small bands around Fresno, California. We decided to come to LA in 1959. We came and we conquered. When we signed with CBS in 1969, the first promotional tour they sent us on was to Europe. We were over there so long, I think I would have slit a nun's throat for a burrito. In 1974, we had the #1 selling single of the year, Come and Get Your Love.
Lolly Vegas was actually born as Candido Lolly Vasquez Vegas in 1939. He was a Native American musician, and he also was of Mexican heritage. He played in numerous ensembles with his brother Pat, including Pat and Lolly Vegas, the Avitus, and Redbone. He actually was born in Coalinga, California, which is not far from Fresno. And before the world knew him as Lolly Vegas, of the 1970s band Redbone, he and his brother and a friend Robert Howard played the Salinas Club circuit in the 1950s. With his brother and Howard, they formed the High Tensions Band. Lolly Vasquez played lead guitar while his brother played mostly bass and drums. They also led a band called the Avitus. They became a support act for the Beach Boys. Vegas co-wrote Sick Chick and Ain't That Soul, which was released in 1964. He also wrote Love Will Make You Crawl for Cliff Wagner, which was on the B-side to his 1966 single, Exception to the Rule. Obviously, Come and Get Your Love was the biggest hit of that entire group. And he died of lung cancer and reseda. Unfortunately, Lolly had been in poor health up until his death. 15 years prior to his death, he suffered a stroke. So one of the things that I notice in Central California is that there are a lot of Latino burials, and they certainly treat their graves a little differently than the Anglo population. For example, you see a lot of Christmas trees on graves. You'll see gatherings of people on lawn chairs around a grave, even seen mariachi bands performing in a cemetery. And a lot of cemeteries allow that. A lot of cemeteries don't want to see that because it just kind of disrupts the serenity of the park. This is kind of interesting. Here's a Lucero Lolly Villa, buried not too far from Lolly, Vegas. Most of these graves are recent graves. This is just a child. Well, not a child, younger than me, obviously. She was born in 1976. And she passed away in September of 2024. Come and Get Your Love came out in the 1970s, and I was a teenager, and I always liked that song. And I noticed that they're still playing it on TV commercials today. I don't know if you are aware of the fact that they will often play songs that trigger memories of when you were younger. When you see a TV commercial with a song, you can kind of figure out what age group they're targeting by what they're playing. I've often even noticed that they play a lot of ELO songs, which would be targeting my age group. It's interesting because when I went to the ELO concert, I thought, who are all these old people? I thought ELO was for young people, and I realized I'm not young anymore. So if you've never seen the video, I encourage you to go watch the video of their performance. I think one of the shows had them on. It's still on YouTube today, and they start out with the Indian dance and the drum beat, and it's really cool. Lolly Vegas was actually Native American and of Mexican descent. So I've been wanting to come to the cemetery for quite a while. It's the weekend where Los Angeles is burning up. I had already planned to go to Los Angeles when that fire broke out, so I'm not going to abandon it. I'm going to see what we can do down there. Thank you for helping us pay tribute to Lolly Vegas, and I hope that it brought back some good memories of when you were younger and heard that on the radio.